Yo, what up? Who is Snoop here? So happy that you've made it over to my YouTube segment. Hopefully you have subscribed to my channel. And hey, I've really got some good information to share with you guys today. I know if you're anything like me, success stories and just hearing about how somebody made it to where it is they are today and some of the things that they had to overcome, some of the challenges and things of that nature. It's generally very, very entertaining and of interest. I know for me, like I love shows like Unsung, Uncensored. Back in the day when they used to have Behind the Music, I think that was the name of it. That was like one of my favorite shows. So anyway, just want to tell you guys a little bit about my story, just a little bit about kind of how I got into what it is that I do today. All right, so just to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I'm 35, just turned 35 actually a couple weeks ago. And I've always been used to kind of being like the youngest person in the room. So the older I get, it's kind of definitely like kind of taking me out of my element a little bit, because now I'm like the same age or even sometimes considered the OG, you know, in the room. So, but, and that's because, you know, I started school at 3. So my mom and dad, my dad was a big time drug dealer in Detroit, Michigan. My mom, her father actually murdered her mother and sister when she was 14. So she was kind of on her own, you know, ever since then. Hooked up with my dad, you know, when her mom was alive, like her dad actually lived on the same, my dad actually lived on the same street as my mom when they was growing up, but my mom wasn't even allowed to walk down that side of the street that they lived on because they were very, very well known as, you know, very ruthless, you know, drug dealers and things of that nature. So, of course, as my mom was grieving and going through, you know, the murder of her mother and sister, ended up hooking up with my dad, had me and both of my brothers by him. And so definitely very tumultuous relationship, a lot of domestic violence, things of that nature, a lot of things that I remember seeing. But in order for my mom to be able to go to school, and she's actually a nurse practitioner today, but she was just trying to be an RN at the time. And so in order for my mom to be able to go to school, she put me in school early. Everybody always was just saying that I was really smart, really sharp, you know, smarter than my age and things of that nature. So I guess she tested it out, and so she changed my birth certificate, and I started kindergarten at the age of 3. And so I never forget, I was so small, I would be like sitting on the teacher's lap and everything. I was always the teacher's pet. Growing up, I was very, very into school and into my education. So started school at 3, you know, went through, you know, the years of, you know, grade school and elementary school and things of that nature. And when I was about 11, we decided to move to Nashville, Tennessee. Basically, as I was saying, my mom went through a lot of domestic violence things with my dad. And so one day she had separated from him, was going through the process of her divorce, and was coming home one night with a guy she was dating, and my dad jumped out of the bushes with a gun. And so my mom, you know, he scared my mom so much that she decided to move to Nashville, Tennessee. So I don't know who in the hell had told her about this damn slow ass country ass Nashville, Tennessee, but somebody did. One of her friends said, you know, a lot of people was moving to Nashville through like the plants and stuff like that. And so I guess one of her friends lied to her and told her it was just such a great place to move and all of this stuff. And so long story short, she moved all of us, me, her, my brothers, you know, moved all of us down to Nashville, Tennessee. And so that's where the rest of my education continued. And so when I first moved to Nashville, they actually wanted to put me in the grade that I was supposed to be in according to my age. And so they said, well, you know, we'll let her stay in there, you know, for the first 6 weeks and see, you know, how she does. But if she can't keep up, she's gonna have to go back to the grade that she's supposed to be in. And so I actually did so well that my teacher, he wanted to double promote me. And so what that means is just skip me up a grade. But my mom, she had told him no, you know, she was just like, she's already 2 years ahead, you know, et cetera. And so that was that. But they fronted on me. I didn't think I could handle it. I didn't think I could keep up. But so anyways, I used to play basketball. Growing up, I was definitely like an avid basketball player. And when I was growing up, I mean, this sounds so old, but the WNBA, they actually was like just coming out. I think kind of like in like my middle school or kind of like early like high school years, the WNBA was just coming out. And so I stayed really connected to basketball, but as the WNBA, was out for more years and stuff like that, I was seeing that, a lot of the female basketball players wasn't getting the same hype that the male basketball players were. And they for damn sure wasn't paid as much. So for me, that kind of drained my love out of it, because I was always into, making sure, like going, like in high school, I wore Tommy Hilfiger every single day. I started working at McDonald's when I was 12. And so I used to have a little notebook where I would write down every single thing that I wore to school, so that I wouldn't like duplicate outfits, every 2-3 weeks or whatever the case may be. And so, coming from a household where, my mom, she of course tried to, definitely provided us with some of the finer things in life, but of course couldn't, give us everything, because, she was a single mother of 3 kids. My father, he ended up getting on drugs and things of that nature, and definitely was not in the picture, and helping raise us. So we definitely, grew up, having to provide, a lot of things for ourselves. And so that was kind of pretty much, my high school, life. I played basketball, and I worked at McDonald's, from age 12 up until about age 16. When I was 14, I was actually a junior in high school. Had just started, dating and, calling myself, liking, really liking guys and stuff like that. And ended up, basically, the first time I had sex, I got pregnant. And so I got pregnant with my daughter. And, when I got pregnant, I didn't really tell anybody anything about it. I was just like really scared. Growing up, my mom, she was like real stressed and stuff like that. So we was awesome. We had one of the mamas that definitely slap you into next year. And so that was one of her dreams and wishes for me was that I did not get pregnant, because she kind of felt like, her having 3 kids, prematurely had definitely derailed, a lot of her goals and little different things that she wanted to do in life. So I knew she would be very, very, devastated if she knew. And so just me being scared and, immature and things of that nature, I held the pregnancy, as a secret. Didn't tell anybody at all except for my best friend in high school, and she didn't tell anybody. And so got to the point I was about 7 months. Long story short, my mom ended up finding out. Basically, I just kind of got to the point where I was just showing the large clothes and little different things that I was wearing to try to, mask it. Were no longer working. And so my mom came up behind me one day, realized I was pregnant, ended up wanting me to put my daughter up for adoption. Her thing was, I'm not going to let this, ruin your future. Different things of that nature. I personally did not want to put her up for adoption. I just felt like that I just couldn't be one of those people that had, I used to watch like a lot of Lifetime movies with my mom and stuff like that. And, like back in the day, that type of shit was popular, and not necessarily popular, but it was like the thing, somebody get pregnant prematurely, they had been and sent them down south or up north or whatever to had a baby and, put the baby up for adoption, or either, they raising the child as, the sister and all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So like, I wasn't interested in any of those things. And so, but my mom, of course, I was living with her and it was her house and she didn't want me to bring my daughter home. So she ended up being in foster care for the first 4 years of her life. I went back home. I had my daughter in Detroit, went back home to Nashville, ended up finishing my senior year. So that was like the summer of my junior year when I had my daughter. Ended up finishing my senior year and then going to college. And, when I went to college, I just kind of felt like, wow, I can kind of get away, from that other life. And it basically was like I was living 2 lives, because I had just had this baby, but the end of my junior year. that nobody knew about. Even still, like a lot of my family didn't even know about this. This was something that like nobody was supposed to know about. And so went to college, and I definitely feel like a lot of the things that I had went through, you know, I kind of acted out in college, because I was very, very wild in college. Not even like sexually, but just like kicking it, you know, like I definitely like lived it up. I had the full college experience. I DJ'd in college, I partied in college, I threw parties. I was super popular. Never went to class. I definitely, if I can turn back the hands of time, I really wish I would have took more, got more value, you know, out of especially a Vanderbilt University education. But anyway, long story short, went through a lot of challenges in college, you know, just due to being, you know, immature and acting out, you know, some of the things that I had went through in high school. And so also just a lot of the things with, you know, being like sexually abused as a child and things of that nature, it kind of started coming out, you know, in college because of some things that was going on within our family. And so anyways, long story short, once I graduated from college, we ended up getting my daughter back. My mom was kind of on the same page and just felt like, you know, nothing good was going to come to us, you know, being that we had this family member that was out there that wasn't a part of the family, etc. So, you know, she allowed us to go up to Detroit and get my daughter. And it's so crazy because my mom and my daughter are so super close to this day. And you would have thought that she was the one that was, you know, trying to keep her, you know, from, you know, becoming a part of the family, because I mean, they literally are like best friends. So, but anyways, you know, after that, I graduated from college, and I had originally wanted to be a criminal defense attorney, but once I got my daughter, I knew that I didn't have time to do, you know, 4 more years of schooling. You know, I was blessed to even be able to go to college, you know, with having a child at the age of 15. And so after that, I decided I wanted to be a financial advisor. And so I worked at a lounge, a really, really popular lounge in Nashville, while I was studying, you know, for my test to become a financial advisor. And I ended up getting my Series 6, my Series 7, Series 66, and my life and health insurance licenses to be able to sell securities and trade and insurances and different things of that nature. And so during that period, I was able to work for this lounge, and me and the owner got close, and I was really able to kind of see, you know, the ins and outs and different things of that nature. And I was just a server at the time, and I was making really, really good money. And I was also still feminine. I was still a feminine girl at this time. I was like basically like bisexual, you know, at the time or whatever. But anyways, that was a really good experience because I like I said, I was able to see a lot of the ins and outs of the lounge and restaurant industry. And I still never thought to myself like, oh, I want to be a part of this industry. You know, I'm going to open up a lounge one day or anything like that. Because for me, you know, I went to a school like Vanderbilt University. I had always made straight A's in school. And so I felt like for me, corporate America was probably most likely going to be my calling. And so I got into, you know, as soon as I was able to become a financial advisor, I stopped working in the nightlife industry. And I even told myself when I picked up that job, I said, you know, let me work somewhere that I'll probably never be able to work in this type of environment, you know, for the rest of my life, because I'm most likely going to be a financial advisor or somebody doing something in corporate America, having to wear a suit and all that type of stuff every day. And that was literally how my life started off, you know, when I ventured into corporate America. And so that was one of the very first jobs, you know, that I had. And so y'all keep watching, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more, you know, in one of my future episodes as to how it is I transition from corporate America to actually getting into nightlife. All right, y'all holler at me on Instagram, WhoIsSnoop.